Hi, I just wanted to do a quick video and show you how to use some of the websites for this week's discussion. There's a couple of them, so I just want you to kind of know what you're actually looking up. The first one is haveibeenpwned.com. That's how you pronounce it. I do apologize. Pwned is just a gamer term. It's a misspelling of the word owned, and it essentially means you've been defeated, something along those lines. But more importantly, this website, you can put in an email address, and it will tell you if any website has been breached recently. So let's say you do business with an online retailer, and so you give that retailer your email address along with a bunch of other information, and then somebody hacks that retailer's website. They might get access to some of your personal information. Could be just your email address and your password. It could be, maybe your home address or something like that. It could be credit card numbers. And so it varies in seriousness, but this website essentially collects a bunch of information about these security breaches, and it will tell you if your email address appears in any of the data that has been exfiltrated. Exfiltrate is just a fancy word to mean data that has been taken out of the server by somebody who wasn't supposed to have access to it. And so you can type in anything you want. This is actually a fake email address, and then check to see, is that email address, has it been associated with any sort of recent data breach? And this one, although it's fake, has not been associated with any sort of data breach. So that's a good sign. This is not going to be perfect. They don't have information on every data breach, and some data breaches, nobody posts this information, and so stuff's kept very secret. If you want to know a little bit more about how they actually get the information, you can kind of check around the website and they'll give you some more information. I will say that if you're checking your email address to determine whether or not it's been involved in a data breach, this will not give you. There are right now a few different websites that it considers to be sensitive. And you can see them listed here. They've got little things. I won't really go into what those websites do, but needless to say, the people who made this website feel that if somebody else were able to check to see if your email was associated with one of these websites, just the fact that you had an account on one of those websites could be damaging to you. And so, so for those, if you're concerned about those particular data breaches, you'll actually have to essentially verify your account. You say that you want to search, you give the email address, they send you an email with a link, and if you click on that link, you'll see whether or not you're part of that data breach. Essentially, they just want to make it so that somebody else can't look up your website on those for that data breach. Although there's other ways you can get it, and hopefully nobody who's listening to this has to deal with that sort of stuff. Regardless, other than the sensitive websites, if you just want to figure out, hey, was my, big companies like Target and Staples have all had security breaches. Was my email address involved with that? Was my account involved with that? And you can check it out. You can also check out account name if you use account name rather than email, although most places have you log in with an email now. And so this is the first site I want you to check out. See if you have been involved in a recent data breach. If so, you do not have to share that with the class. That can be kind of an emotional thing to know that somebody's taking your information. But it's good to know in case, these companies, they are required to assist you. And so they may have sent an envelope, right, with some sort of letter that had some information saying, hey, we're going to offer you free credit reporting or free credit monitoring for a year because of this. You may have just missed it. And so this is a good way to know, hey, I actually was part of this data breach and I would like to get some more information. You can contact the company that lost your information to somebody. So check this out. I just want you to know that it exists as a site, as a resource for you. But again, for the purpose of our discussion, if you have been part of a data breach, don't feel obligated to share that information with the class. You can if you'd like, but there's nothing wrong with just buying office supplies online and, oh my gosh, I didn't know my Staples account got hacked. So the second site, the best way to protect your online accounts is using a secure password. When you think about it, the photos you put online, your banking information, there is so much stuff that we have access to online, and the only thing protecting it from other people is just a set of characters, just a string of characters that we call a password. It's just not the most secure thing in the world, and there's a lot of companies working on better things than passwords, but until that happens, right now what you have is a password, and you can incredibly, the best thing you could do for your online security is use good passwords. And so you can sit here and just type in, I'm going to type in the most common password used in America, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it will tell you exactly how long it would take a hacker using off-the-shelf brute force password cracking software, how long it would take them with just a standard PC to crack your password. And you can see it says instantly, which means that the amount of time is so small they can't actually measure it. Point being, that is an incredibly unsecure password. Do not choose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as your password, nor should you choose password as your password. That will be cracked instantly. One of the interesting things you can sort of learn as you look at information security and computer security is that 91% of people use the same 1,000 passwords. The top 1,000 passwords in America are used by 91% of Americans. And it takes no time at all to crack those passwords. So when you choose a password, the complexity of that password makes a huge difference. So I'm going to choose a password that I do not use, but that might help you. A really good technique is to use a passphrase. So instead of just using a word, think of a phrase, maybe a quote from a movie, and use the initials, the first letters from those, in the password, as well as maybe mixing some stuff up. So maybe I'll start out with a capital here. It is a dangerous thing going out your front door, period. That password, if you were just try to brute force it, right? I started with a capital, I ended with a period. Everything in the middle is lowercase. There are no numbers in this. I should probably add in a number. That would be helpful. But even as is, that would take 1,000 years on a standard PC to crack that password. That is so much better. And then watch what happens if I add in maybe, I don't know, the year I was born, 77. Now it'll take 51 million years. It is a single computer running one of these brute force algorithms would have to continue running until long after we have been replaced by whatever comes after human beings, right? I think the dinosaurs were about 51 million years ago. So whatever happens in the future, then my password will get cracked. Just the way exponential math works, the more complex your password, you are so much better off online, especially if you're one of those people who uses one of those top 1,000 passwords. I know you probably think it's cute. I know you probably think it's creative, but it's not. And especially these brute force programs, they can actually they have access to essentially a dictionary where they can look up passwords that have already been compromised in some of these data breaches. And so if you use a password on one site and you find out that it's been part of a data breach, you should probably change that password on every site that you use it on, because it's now part of a dictionary that can be used to essentially crack the password instantaneously. Point being, make sure the screen turns green on the password that you're using. All right, and there's some tips here on choosing a good password, but we'll move on to the last website, which you really don't even have to bother too much with. I just want you to know this exists. So this is a product called 1Password. You have to pay for this. I don't really care so much about the process of this particular product, right? But the idea is that this product will allow you to have 1Password, and then for every single website, every single account you create, it will create a password for you, and that password will be incredibly long and complex. And so the idea is that you only have to remember your 1Password, and it will remember all of your other passwords, which can make it a little simpler. It definitely keeps it secure because the passwords you're using on these other websites are going to be very complex. But more importantly, it's a method you can use to sort of defeat the hackers in their ability to crack simple passwords. So 1Password is an option, but a lot of companies are trying to build this functionality into their products. Mac OS 10 keeps building up its keychain product, which stores all your passwords. It can now suggest passwords for you that are incredibly complex, which is perfectly fine because it remembers it. And so then when you're on your iPhone or when you're on your laptop, you'll always have access to those passwords. It'll fill it in for you. And it's chosen a very complex password. These sorts of things can help, and they're integrating them into the operating systems. I know Windows either now has or will have very soon one of these features in Windows 10. So you don't necessarily have to pay for 1Password to get the experience. But if you push play right here, you'll see a little video on how 1Password works. And as part of your discussion, right, this is at the end of the day, that's what you want to do. As part of your discussion, again, you don't have to talk about if you've been part of a data breach. That's just information for you. If you want to share that information, you can. But tell us, how secure is the password you use on a regular basis? Don't tell us what that password is, but tell us, how good is it? How long would it take just some random teenager who's got a average PC and knows a little bit about programs they probably shouldn't be messing with? How long would it take them to crack your password? And then finally, is 1Password or something like it, if it came free, sort of built into your operating system, is this a solution, something you might consider using? And if so, maybe look into it. Check out and see, hey, what's the password manager situation for Windows? What is the password manager situation for Mac OS 10? And if you're Linux, you probably don't even need to ask any of this. You probably already know about all of it. Point being, tell us, what's your solution going to be moving forward? Because really, protecting your password is an important topic, and it's probably your first and best line of defense in a world where you're putting a lot of really valuable information online. Anyway, that's all. Enjoy this week's discussion. Hopefully you found at least one of these sites to be helpful to you, and that's all. Have a good day. I'll see you online.